I guess the best way to do it is just to start off by introducing ourselves. My name is Matthew.
My name is Mina.
We collectively own THRFT Store Vintage. Tell me a little about yourself. What do you like to do?
I'm really into like production, video, photo, social media editing.
Hence,
this entire production is me and Matthew.
You see how she hesitates on that?
Matthew is the star of the show and I am the production. It's the signed agreement that we have.
I don't know if we signed anything, but here we are. But in all seriousness, this is something that we wanted to do for a long time. I think it really spouted out during the beginning of the pandemic. You know, obviously a lot of people were doing podcasts, a lot of people were going live, a lot of people were exploring different avenues. We were no different.
We're always looking for something new to bring into the shop, I would say.
This talk show will be discussing, of course, vintage. We'll be discussing our store, THRFT Store Vintage and fashion. We'll have probably some guests, maybe?
Possibly. I don't know.
Maybe some guests.
Maybe. I think right now is a perfect time to talk not only about the store, but kind of things that we encounter as business owners, social media tips, website tips, business tips.
We have a rough format of the way we're going to try to do it, but we are definitely no professionals, and we're doing this after hours.
Hopefully it gets better after each episode. I don't know. We'll see. So I posted on my Instagram and I asked people to ask us questions about pretty much anything they wanted to know about the shop, about us. So we're gonna go ahead and answer some of those questions for people. I'm very surprised that we got some, I'm not gonna lie. The first question is, how do you guys consistently stay evolving as a brand when trends are constantly changing?
It's no different than anything else in the world where if you want to know something, you got to do a lot of research. I'm always looking for things that I think are cool, things that inspire me. It could be a photo, it could be like a little blurb that somebody said. A lot of times I think Mina and I will separately be on social media and doing research, looking at things, and then we'll kind of come together, whether we're texting each other or whether we're sitting down and having breakfast. We'll bring things up to each other. We'll say oh, did you notice this? Do you see a trend? Do you see maybe this is where people are liking or where it's heading?
I think the hardest part is honestly staying inspired. And I think we try to find inspiration everywhere we can. There's been times where, I'm looking at old 80s and 90s newspapers and I'm looking at the ads that they're posting in there, and I'm like, wow, I really like that type of graphic design. So I know there's music that we listen to that we're like, wow, let's do a listening party for this. It's hard to stay evolving as a brand, as a shop, and as people, the big three, right? What I find myself doing is if there's any dead time that I have throughout my day, I know that I'm gonna be looking for something new to work on, like the talk show. And I know Matthew's also gonna be working on something new to put out, like the Save the Earth program or artwork or anything that we can install in the shop, So it's a matter of never getting comfortable, always staying on our toes, always staying inspired. So the next question we have is, how do you keep your content fresh?
Mina does, pretty much, she does the social media, she does our website. So any content that you typically see, it's 100% her. I think give you ideas or help with inspiration. I'll show her things like, hey, can we do this? Or this is something I saw I like. So please answer this and I'll add a little bit if I have anything.
What helps keeping our content fresh is that we get new drops every Tuesday. So we unload, a ton of new pieces that I can add and record and make new videos about. I keep up with Meta's algorithm articles a lot, and I read a lot of what they want you to put out, what kind of new tools are they providing to you as a business account holder. A big thing that they do want you to do and put out is reels and video. One of the main things that I've seen is when you use the tools that TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, anything Meta really, and beyond Meta, are giving you, they're gonna give you preference in their algorithm. The thing with our specific demographic and where I find it complicated is that basically our demographic wants kind of the routine that they're already used to. They want to see the content that they already came here for. They also don't want to get bored and they want to see new content. They want to explore more. So it's about finding balance and showing people what they're already used to and kind of trying to mix in other new things. Social media is genuinely trial and error.
It's about knowing your brand, knowing your demographic, and how you can constantly give people something fresh within staying within what people are comfortable with and knowing who they know of you.
Yeah, it's very complicated. But as a small business owner, if you're not active on your social media, you're not setting yourself up for success. The next question we have, this person wants to know how we knew that this is what we wanted to do for our careers.
I've always known that I wanted to be a creative. Not necessarily like what you think of as a creative nowadays. Like I always wanted to be an artist. Like I always wanted to like make something, and that something made people think it was cool or brought them joy. I wanted to make money that way. I wanted to never work a day in my life with that mentality. That's something my mom always told me. This is my mentality as like a young Matthew. If I tattoo my hands, I'll never be able to get like a real job. It's gonna force me to do what I love, to be a creative. And so I did. I tattooed the tops of my hands. Even though maybe that like I could obviously still get any kind of job really, especially in this day and age. It was more about the mental commitment that I made to myself. Extreme. To say like, I'm going to be a creative. I'm going to be an artist. I'm going to create stuff from nothing. And so now with thrift, it's no different. I've just tried to learn every aspect of my field, and I failed at so much stuff in this field, but like I've learned, and it's brought me here.
I must have been a sophomore in high school. I was like 14. My mom gave me the option on whether or not I wanted to go to school or go run some errands with her. We took the bus and we came downtown to the electric company so she could pay her bills. We got to walk around downtown and stuff, and when we were there, she let me go into Jellyfish Collective. Had like an art gallery there. The Jellyfish Collective has no idea how much they inspired me. But whoever was working it was taking their time to explain to this 14-year-old who they are, what they do, you know, the art projects, where they're based out of, all sorts of things. From that moment on, I knew that I wanted to dedicate my life to the development of downtown El Paso.
We've always talked about this. Like, we just want to bring cool things to our downtown.
The next question is, what's the most important thing you've learned when it comes to running a business?
Roll with the punches. Doesn't matter how big you grow it, always stay involved with it. Always know like what's going on. Like,
you always got to know what's
going on with your business, with your day-to-day. Don't take it personal. Stay consistent. Stay creative. Be frugal. Always find new resources. If you ask an employee to do something, make sure that like you're willing to do that yourself.
The next question is, how did it all start?
I owned a gallery, even though it was so hard for me to close it because that was my business, my baby. I was ready to move on to the next phase of my life. About 2 months prior to closing the art gallery, I had another retail space next to me that I was renting out to another business for a while. We just had it vacant. We kind of just had a talk like, well, maybe we should open something there. It was really you and my mom kind of like helping me cope, I think, with closing the gallery. So Mina and I had like late night conversations. We realized that we both really enjoyed thrifting.
Early on, what we used to do is like for our dates, we would go thrifting and we'd show each other like our favorite thrift spots, our secret thrift spots. We would like separate and compile a bunch of stuff and then meet up later and be like, oh, I love this windbreaker because it's like a vintage Adidas or blah, 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 like whatever. I like this piece because it's just a cool color. You don't see them like this. And we would just find things and like geek out on it. We started off thrift with literally $200 to our names. We started off with found objects. We recycled a lot of the stuff that was inside of the gallery. We helped Matthew's aunt move and she had a ton of like vintage t-shirts. We had no air conditioning in the original spot. We had no heating in the spot. We had no access to internet because it was literally a concrete building.
We kind of just focused all our time and energy into thrift, and it was a lot of fun, and it gave me something to do, and it gave me a new opportunity to be creative.
After being in that location for a few months, we saved enough money to get a new location. It was more inward downtown. We rented a U-Haul. It was like this crazy expense to us at the time. That's when we started focusing more on who we are as a brand. We focused more on how we display things, the experience you get in the shop.
We outgrew that space and we moved to the current location that we're in.
This is Thrift 3.
This is Thrift 3. A lot of people don't know that.
This is Thrift 1 to a lot of people.
Yeah,
most people.
So
next question.
Is this the last question?
This is the last question.
I'm enjoying this.
What's your most wanted grail?
There's two, and it's dumb. Size large Lithuania t-shirt.
1994 Grateful Dead Lithuania basketball t-shirt.
I'm looking
liquid blue, preferably.
That's like the main one I'm looking for. But I'm also GRAIL, if you're talking like in other spectrum, I really want like a 90s, an early 90s BMW. I just think it would be a fun car like for us like to drive like on the weekend.
The thing is, I have my head up my ass a lot when I talk about like vintage t-shirts specifically. I like to say that I've seen every single vintage t-shirt out there and held every single vintage t-shirt out there, but there's one shirt that I've always wanted that we've never seen, we've never had our hands on, I've never even gotten close to getting it. A vintage Cranberries tour tee.
Being in the business that we are, like, we like the hunt, we like the chase of it, we like knowing that we found it for a good price, we found it in the wild, as we say. Yeah, I think we're gonna be obviously incorporating more vintage pieces in our show. But like I said, this is our first introductory one. I didn't expect it to get so deep.
Yeah.
I hope we did our best answering the questions. Like I said before, please send us more. We'd love to do that.
Yeah, hopefully the next episodes will be like funny or something, or like more lighthearted and not so deep. Or maybe maybe that's our angle. Maybe we're just really deep people.
Maybe that's what people want to see from us. So until next time, stay tuned, like and subscribe. Send us questions and all that good stuff, and we hope we can give some sort of help or entertainment. Laters.